You're listening to Fulfilling Career, Happy Life, the podcast for accomplished professionals who want to identify what's next in their career and make it happen without compromising what matters most. I'm your host, RANDI Roberts, an executive and career life coach, and I'm glad you're here. If you want to feel more energized about your work again, this show is for you. So let's get into it. Hi, thanks for joining today as we continue our series of the pillars of career satisfaction. I got a question this week about, what do I do? What's the focus of my coaching? So I just want to touch on that for a moment before I dive in. I went into this as an executive coach intending to help people get to the VP level and the C-suite and work through areas of skill development. And I do that work and I love it. But I also have this other piece of work that I've developed that I call career life coaching. And the reason for that is that I have found that people need to love their work while they're achieving their goals. And I believe that you deserve to love your work. And I know that it's possible. And so that's what the career life coaching is all about, helping you love your work as you achieve your goals. And that leads perfectly into balance as one of the pillars of career satisfaction. And if you think about balance from a physics perspective, what is it structurally? It's, being on balance allows you to sustain pressure. It allows you to stay strong and to adjust to forces outside you without falling. I mean, it's very, it's that basic. And that analogy works so well for how we sustain ourselves over time in our careers. I think about it like, recharging your human batteries and knowing what does that for you. For me, it's about being with friends. It's about being near water. Like my happy place is up in the mountains by a lake. So it's important to know what does it for you. And it's really interesting because there are times when I'll have a discussion with a client about what are those things that recharge their batteries and help them get to balance. And it surprises me, some people don't have an answer to that question. So the assignment becomes find an answer to that question, because oftentimes those are folks that need it the most. An interesting thing about balance in terms of all the 8 pillars that are included in the career satisfaction assessment, balance is one that really is under your control much of the time. And it may not feel like it because you always have more to do than you can do. But balance is about making a choice. Nobody can do balance for you. You just have to choose it and put up the boundaries and make it happen. And you hear balance used a lot in the context of work-life balance. And I love that concept, but I actually don't like the words because it's not work and life. It's life. For most of us, certainly for the people that resonate to my message and that I work with in my business, work is a big part of our lives, but it's all your life. And so it's just about balance overall. It's about balance in a lot of different ways. It might be if you need challenge. Yeah, you need challenge and you need to be stretching yourself. But in balancing that, you need some time to recover. It might be about climbing up a learning curve and taking some time to master that skill and really get some balance in that way. And there's the one that comes to mind most readily is the balance of stress and relaxation, because I think that's when we feel it the most, is when you feel really stressed. But the truth is, some of us thrive on stress. For me, it's a motivator. And so the ideal balance point of stress and relaxation for me may be in a different place, but it's what I need. So it's important to know how much of that you need and get the right balance of that. Essentially, you don't need balance all the time, but you need it over time. because you're going to have days and weeks and months that are crazy and out of balance. This week was really busy for me. I had a lot of clients. I had a couple of new clients. It was a great week and I feel energized. But if I think about it, I was a little off balance. So I'm going to take tomorrow afternoon off and do something fun with my husband because that's what I need this week. So I don't need it all the time, but I need it over time. And so it's important to think about what is that time for you? Do you need a balance over the course of a week? Is it okay to be crazy busy for a couple of months, but if the year balances out? So, this is all personal in terms of what you need. So what happens if you're off balance? Well, it's interesting. Go back to the physics again. If you're off balance, you have to flex some new muscles to stay steady. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can drain your energy from other things you may be wanting to do because you just have to, you have to work a little harder to stay steady. And so being on balance allows you to put your energy where you want it to be. It allows you to be on purpose with the ways that you devote your energy. And, I'm all about being on purpose this year. But a funny thing too about balance is being off balance sometimes. While it may sound like, it's a bad thing, it can be kind of fun and exciting. Like what's coming next? What's around the corner? That feeling when you're on a roller coaster and the car's just about to go over, like you feel a little bit off balance and it's kind of fun. But it's probably not where you want to be all the time. So how do you get it back if you feel that it's missing? I mean, how do you center on it? How do you prioritize it? It's different for everyone, but the truth is no one can do it for you. You have to choose it and you have to go after it and you got to protect it. I mean, I've worked for just some great companies that were really big on talking about work-life balance and even encouraging people to have work-life balance. But the reality is your plate is always overfilled. And so you have to choose balance. You have to make that happen for yourself. And sometimes a good way to think about, if you're not even sure, where are you on that scale? Think about what would your kids say about you? I remember a time where I heard my daughter telling her friends, oh, my mommy's on airplanes all the time. And it's so cool when we get to go with her. So her friends probably thought I was a flight attendant. But aside from that, it's great that she took a positive out of the fact that she got to come along on my travels sometimes. But the message, what she led with telling her friends was that I was gone all the time. And that gave me an opportunity to really pause and think about, was I in balance in the things that were most important to me? And as usual, our kids can call us out. Another way to think about it might be what do you want people saying about you at your retirement party or at a milestone birthday? Are they saying the things you want them to be saying? Are you giving them the ammunition to say the things you want them to say? I guess is a good way to look at it. And I would also encourage you to do some dreaming about what it is that you really want, but be honest with yourself because some of us really thrive on that stress and it's okay to want to throw yourself into your work. But it does come at a cost, and you want to make sure that the cost is worth it. So if you're fortunate enough to be in balance or you know what that feels like how do you make the most of it? I think it's just, as with so many things, be present with it, be in the moment with it and appreciate it for when you have it and think about how it feels because that will know how you feel really is a good indicator for whether you have enough of it or if you need more of it, and you recognize it when it comes back. And I would also say it's really worthwhile to think about how you got there, how you got on balance so that you can repeat it and you can recreate it when you need it. I mean, sometimes building those habits on things that we hope will be automatic but aren't can be really good practice overall. So it's really about knowing what you need and creating it for yourself so that you can be on purpose. And now that I think about it, that's kind of a theme for a lot of these pillars is knowing yourself, knowing what you need so that you can create that environment. So those are my thoughts for this week on balance. Next week, we are going to go into connections, and I'm kind of excited about it because I'm already thinking about the ways that that this applies to all the aspects of our lives. So I'm excited to talk about connections. If you haven't done it, download the Career Satisfaction Assessment and give some thought to where you fall on that scale for connections. So thanks for joining. Love to hear what your thoughts are on balance. If this has stimulated some thought for you, let me know. And you can feel free to get in touch with me here through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through my website, or at my email at randy@corlinroberts.net. Have a great week. Thanks so much for listening to Fulfilling Career, Happy Life. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, follow, rate, and review. Do all the things to show your support for this podcast. It helps other professionals who want to feel more energized about their work again find us. And if you want to take this thinking further, please follow me on LinkedIn, where I share content on a regular basis. You can also get on my email list by downloading the Career Satisfaction Assessment or through my website. All these links are in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in. I truly appreciate that you make the time for yourself to listen to the show. See you next week.